In fact, that's why I don't like the term work-life balance. It's never in balance. There's always one or the other that is pulling you. If you're in startup mode, you're not balanced at home, and there's a lot of issues. If say like what happened with me 2 weeks ago, one of my sons had to go to hospital, and we had a really scary. He had an anaphylactic shock, like reaction to medication, and almost died. I mean, that was very traumatic. You better believe that that morning I did nothing with work, right? I was in in the hospital with him, making sure that he was going to live. And what it is creating this relationship of harmony. When we can find harmony, and the analogy I like to use with it is I love music, and I love singing, and I love singing in groups with multiple parts where harmony is just, you know what I'm talking about, where you just hit great
Mhm.
parts and go, wow, and the hair stands up at the back of your neck. When in order for that chord to really strike and hit well, everybody needs to know their part, or in both in timing and in pitch, so that the chord is, sung or played by design. So if you extrapolate that analogy to our lives and our businesses, every part on that sheet of music is a facet of our life. So there's work life, that's one part. There's home life, that's another part. There's physical, there's spiritual, there's financial, whatever parts of yourself that are important to you, that's the music that you have. And if you don't communicate that sheet of music to all parts in your life, you're going to be sharp and flat and off cadence, and it's not going to work, because there are just times where you can't be in balance. It just is impossible. It's why we're always frustrated, because it's like, oh, it feels like I can just never do it right. Right. Because you're trying to do 50-50, and it just doesn't work that way. So, yes, there are times and seasons when more is needed in the business and more is needed at home. But as long as all parts are aware of that and are on the same page, literally, and are in communication, it works. So last week as I said, I was surfing last week and did a couple business things while I did that. And I had leading up to that, a couple weeks before, let my kids and my wife know, here's where I'm going to be, here's what that looks like. Instead of just the day of, okay, I'm gone for a few days, it's like that shock to the system. It's like, wait, I needed you to do this, and now what am I going to do? No, because we had planned well in advance and we communicated on the same sheet of music. It went off great, worked out well, and I then came back and put more time in family, and all good. So learning how to strike the balance away and say it's not balance, it's harmony. And then figure out what are the parts of my life and with whom do I need to communicate so that they know their part and I know my part. Then we can create beautiful music together, and it's awesome. Now, it's not perfect, right? There are times where that's difficult and you forget to communicate something, or there was a misunderstanding. But overall, I've found that that way of operating is so much more sustainable, so much more healthy, and so much more prone to both parts of our lives succeeding. But it takes discipline. It takes foresight. You've got to be a good communicator, and you have to be thinking ahead. Those that are chaotic and ill-planned, people that are listening to this that know who you are, going, that's great in theory, but I don't even know what I'm doing in the next hour, let alone the next week. So how do you expect me to do that, right? And so that's where I would say find someone, maybe a VA or someone who's a little bit more organized, that can keep you on track. Just know yourself and surround yourself with people that are the yin to your yang and can help you and support you.